Hi everybody and welcome back to English for You. I'm Pat.
I'm Chickling.
We're on day 2 of our article about orchids. Yesterday we took quite a deep look at some of the different types of orchids, their biology, how they reproduce and things like that. Today we're going to look at how they matter to Taiwan. So let's open things up by asking, what things is Taiwan famous for?
Of course, food.
Yeah, I'd say food.
Stinky
tea.
tofu.
Yeah, maybe stinky tofu. Away from food, I guess butterflies, I'd heard.
Butterflies?
I think Taiwan is known for having many species of butterflies.
Oh, okay. That's new to me.
Okay. I'm trying to think of, ignoring the normal kind of political stuff that gets in the news. Forget that.
True.
But I'm just trying to think what I'd heard or read about Taiwan as being
butterflies.
Butterflies apparently is one of the things that Taiwan is sort of well known for. Anything else?
People.
People.
Kind people.
Kind people. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Is it true?
Yes, by and large. Everybody's been very friendly to me.
Yeah, especially when they see like you, people that look like you.
Okay.
Yeah, because we are like, oh, okay.
Not always.
Not always? Really?
Let's go for 95%
Okay,
of the
95%.
time. But there we go. But apparently one of the other things that Taiwan is pretty famous for is its orchids and connection to these flowers. Let's check this out in day 2 of our article.
Reading.
The beauty and science of orchids. Taiwan has long been known as the kingdom of orchids. Winds from typhoons carry orchid seeds from Japan and the Philippines to Taiwan. These seeds then take root. Taiwan is famous for its phalaenopsis, or butterfly orchids. In 2021, 92% of Taiwan's flower agriculture exports were orchids. More than half of these were butterfly orchids. Taiwan hosts one of the world's biggest orchid shows. The Taiwan International Orchid Show is held once a year in the Hobi district of Tainan. The district is home to the Taiwan Orchid Technology Park. This was created in 2004 and is the largest greenhouse cluster for the world's orchid industry. The Taiwan International Orchid Show is a big event for the Taiwan Orchid Growers Association. The show helps promote interest in Taiwan's orchids and maintain proper operations in the orchid industry. It brings in a large number of visitors to view and buy high-quality orchids. It's early spring now, so it's time for the orchids to bloom.
So day 2 begins by saying Taiwan has long been known as the kingdom of orchids. So has long been known as just means that's what people have known about it or called it for quite a long time. And in this case, we're calling it the kingdom of orchids. Now, a kingdom can be a land ruled by a king. I come from the United Kingdom. We have a king, so we're a kingdom. But we can also use this word to talk about a land or even an area that's famous for this particular thing. Now, I've heard that Taiwan is sometimes called the kingdom of fruits too, because of all the fruits here. And of course, the UK is the United Kingdom.
所以 kingdom 就是王国，所以 the kingdom of something 就是什么的王国。老师刚刚有讲哦 ，Taiwan is also a kingdom of fruits， 指的就是台湾也有水果王国的称呼。那我们今天讲的是兰花，所以代表台湾是兰花王国之称。
But why? Is there a reason for that? Well, yes, there is. You remember yesterday we said that orchids make lots and lots and lots of seeds, and the seeds get blown by the wind and grow into new orchids. Well, that doesn't just happen in a small area, that can happen in a big area. The article says winds from typhoons carry orchid seeds from Japan and the Philippines to Taiwan.
所以台风呢很酷诶，这个风带来它带来的风呢，它会把兰花的种子从日本跟菲律宾带进来台湾。
Of course, Japan has got a very different kind of climate to the Philippines. So that's two different sort of groups of orchids there being all blown to kind of Taiwan in the middle. And we see in the article, these seeds then take root. The phrase take root, in this case, it's very literal. They make roots in the soil and grow. But you can also talk about taking root to mean find a home and start growing as if that is your new home. I've been in Taiwan for almost 15 years now, so you could certainly say I have taken root in Taiwan. I've put down roots. It's going to be difficult to just pick me up and move me to somewhere else.
所以 take root 这边是指植物的生根，或者在这边扎根的意思。所以我们就知道说，这些被带来台湾的种子呢，就会生根。
Okay, time for a sentence with yet another word you guys will probably never need to know. It says, Taiwan is famous for its phalaenopsis, or phalaenopses is the plural, or butterfly orchids.
Butterfly orchids, OK， 所以它就是蝴蝶兰。所以 be famous for something 就是因为什么而著名，所以台湾以蝴蝶兰著名。那我们再继续看文章，他说 In 2021, 92% of Taiwan's flower agriculture exports were orchids. So that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a big number. I guess butterfly orchids, maybe the flower petals look a bit like the butterfly wings, or maybe they've got bright colors like that. But Taiwan, it seems, exports these. So it's not just people growing them, it's a business. And it's a business of agriculture. Agriculture is growing things. It can be farming, crops, rice, that sort of stuff, tea. It could be growing plants like this kind of thing. It's any kind of large-scale growing of stuff, plants and so on. So if we could say, for example, though Alice grew up in a city, she has always been interested in agriculture and often volunteers to work on farms.
所以 agriculture 指的就是农业哦，那它的形容词是 agricultural， 就是农业的。所以比如说 the land here isn't any good for agricultural crops， 就是这一个土地在这边是不适合种植任何东西的。
But they're not just grown for people in Taiwan. We saw in the last sentence these are exports. Let's take a look at that word. An export is any product that is sold to a government or a company that's in another country. We can use the word as a verb as well. Orchids are exported to other countries. Here's an example sentence using the noun form. Taiwan's computer chips are some of its most important exports.
Export 这边是出口产品的意思，是名词，当动词也可以哦。Export， 比如说 Italian food has been exported all over the world。所以我们根据文章就知道，说在2021年的时候，台湾的花卉农业出口呢，有92% 都是兰花。
Of course, the opposite to export is import. An import is something that's bought into the country. If you import it, you bring it in from another country. So we've got a massive number there. 92% of this agricultural flower exports are orchids, and more than half of these were butterfly orchids. So that obviously means it's one of these really big, important products that gets sold to other countries.
所以在这些出口呢，这么多的兰花中，有一半以上都是蝴蝶兰，所以我们一开始才会说台湾是以蝴蝶兰著称嘛。那我们继续看到文章又说了 ，Taiwan hosts one of the world's biggest orchid shows。所以台湾呢不止呢出口一堆兰花，我们呢也举办了世界上最大的兰花展之一哦。
Yeah, a lot of people come here. There's a big kind of festival. People grow them and look at them and go, oh, there's a new kind we've got here. And we see in the article, the Taiwan International Orchid Show is held once a year in the Hubei, I guess, district of Tainan.
所以呢，台湾的国际兰展呢，其实是每年在台南的后壁区举办一次。那继续文章也说了，这个区是什么呢？The district is home to the Taiwan Orchid Technology Park.
Okay, so there's a big park there. There's a lot of technology and research maybe done on them. So this district, this area of Tainan is home to this thing. we use this phrasal verb be home to show where something's home it is, or at least where it's located for the long term.
所以 be home to blah 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 就是什么的所在地，所以是什么的所在地呢？后壁区在台南的后壁区呢，是台湾兰花生物科技园区的所在地的意思。
So this, meaning this technology park, this was created in 2004 and is the largest greenhouse cluster for the world's orchid industry. So in other words, this place is where more orchids are grown than like anywhere else. It's like the number one spot. And it's a greenhouse. A greenhouse is a special house for plants and growing things. It's usually made of glass. The temperature, the moisture can be controlled. You can keep insects out. Now, you could have these on a very small scale. Like my parents have a small greenhouse just next to their house. They can grow things. But you can also have these absolutely huge greenhouses where hundreds and thousands of plants can be grown. It's greenhouse because green things, plants are grown there. So we could say Mindy has a small greenhouse where she grows tomatoes. Or tomatoes.
OK， 所以 greenhouse 就是温室。所以我们再看另外一个句子 ，It is important to maintain a constant temperature inside the greenhouse。就是你在温室里面的那个温度很重要。
But this isn't just one greenhouse here in this area of Tainan. It's a greenhouse cluster. We use the word cluster for a group of the same or similar things all together in the same place. So there's like big one, big one, big one, big one, big one, and they're all pretty close. We often think about this in food, or I do at least. A nut cluster would be a group of nuts all mixed together and probably covered in chocolate.
所以 cluster 呢指的是群或聚落，那通常是指同种类东西的群或聚落。所以我们知道说，台湾兰花生物科技园区呢，它是创建于2004年，然后它是世界兰花产业最大的温室集群。
Okay, so we've got this, they've got the show, we've got this big greenhouse area, and here's another actual group of people related to this whole idea. The Taiwan International Orchid Show is a big event for the Taiwan Orchid Growers Association.
所以这一个呢，台湾国际兰展其实就是台湾兰花产销发展协会的一个很重大的活动。那我们来看一下这一个展览什么的一些相关资讯。The show helps promote interest in Taiwan's orchids and maintain proper operations in the orchid industry.
Okay, got a few words to look at in this sentence. So let's start with the first one. It is the verb promote. So we could use promote in like a work sense. You get promoted, you move up to a bigger job with more money. Here, though, we mean promote to help someone or something grow or develop by increasing interest in it, awareness of it, getting funds for it, and so on. It's kind of taking an area and saying, hey, everybody, this is really cool. You should learn about this. You should get involved with this. Maybe you could donate a little money to this so it can keep growing. So, for example, we could say the book fair aims to promote interest in reading and local writers.
Promote 就是有促进啊，或者增进的意思。那这个字是动词哦，它的名词是 promotion。那这意思非常的多，除了当然促销、推销、宣传以外，还可以有升迁的意思哦。那我们看两个句子 ：There was a promotion in the store, and they were giving away free glasses of wine。因为他们可能要促销这些酒嘛，所以就会免费给。那或者是刚刚我们讲到的升迁，就可以 Congratulations on your promotion. That means you got promoted.
Exactly. So they're trying to promote orchids growing, but they're also making sure that operations about orchids are all going in the right way. Here, the word operation means an action or a set of actions that is necessary to achieve something. So let's make sure we can grow orchids in the right way. Let's make sure no species are going to die out, that kind of thing. So here is an example. The factory had to stop operations while one of its main machines was being repaired.
所以 operation 就是作业的意思。那我们呢当成动词就是 operate， 还有作业运行，或甚至是医生的开刀也是可以自己使用这一个字。那我们再看一个句子 ，This sewing machine is operated by a foot pedal， 就是这一个缝纫机是脚踏板来操作的。所以我们刚刚讲到的这一个兰花展览呢，它是可以有助于促进人们对兰花的兴趣，而且也可以维持兰花产业的正常运作。
So let's get back to talking about how the festival does this. How does it help get more attention, more money, more interest in orchids? The article says it brings in a large number of visitors to view and buy high-quality orchids. So yeah, people will come from Taiwan to kind of check all these out. People will come from international places. Other orchid growing associations will send people and go, hey, look at this new one we've discovered in South America, or hey, we want to grow some in the gardens in the UK. Let's see if we can do an exchange of seeds, that kind of thing. So it will bring in a lot of visitors. To bring in means to attract people to take part in an activity. It brings in a lot of visitors. You could also use it with money. It brings in a lot of money. It gets money. People pay money, and this group earns the money.
所以 bring in someone 就是吸引或带来的意思，所以呢，代表说呢，也这个展览呢，也吸引了很多的游客来观赏啊，跟买这些很好的兰花哦。
Okay, so that's some information about this festival, this group that does it, where it takes place, some interesting things there. Maybe you guys can check that out at the right time of year. The article moves on to talk about that and says it's early spring now, so it's time for the orchids to bloom.
哇，以为是春天了，要来 bloom， 但是在我们讲 bloom 这个字之前呢，我们先看一下今天的 language and focus。好，这个句型呢，it's time for someone to do something， 就是某人做什么的时候了，就是去强调做某件事情的时机到咯。那通常说话者呢，认为呢某人应该做某事，可是却还没有行动，通常语气是这样子的。比如说 ，It's time for you to wake up and attend to your business。哎，你差不多要起床了，来做正事了。那句型也可以简化，把它变成 It's time for，and then 加一个名词。所以你其实也可以说 Well, it's time for business， 是时候谈正事了。
So what we're saying in this sentence is because it's the right time of year, the orchids are going to bloom. It's time for them to do this. It's the time of year when this happens. And to bloom means to produce flowers. With a lot of flowers, this will happen in the spring. Some come very early, some come a bit later. It all depends on the plant. But it's at this time of year, when the weather gets warmer, you'll start to see the flowers coming up. The flowers open up, and spring is full of all of its beautiful colors.
所以 bloom 就是开花的意思。那因为初春到了，兰花开花的时间到了，大家有空的时候也可以赶快去看这个兰花展哦，每年一次而已。
We can also use the word bloom as a noun. Like we can say the blooms of the flowers, that kind of thing.
花的开花。
Exactly. So we can use blooms in a kind of like, oh, look at these beautiful blooms, that kind of thing. You would say that if you went to this orchid festival. We can also use the phrase in bloom.
Oh, in bloom. The flowers are in bloom.
The flowers are in bloom. The cherry trees are in bloom. You know, that time of the year when all the cherry blossom comes out.
It kind of looks like the word blossom. I was going to say that.
Yeah, bloom and blossom, you can kind of tell how they're related in that way.
Yeah.
So anyway, that is the end of our article. So now we're going to go to today's For You Chat question.
You chat.
So today's chat question is, do you think an orchid would be a good gift? Why or why not?
If the person you're giving to is an elderly person, I think it's a good gift.
Because
I think elder people, older people, they like orchids. I'm not sure about kids because myself, I'm not really a big fan of orchids. But if you give me roses, I would be so happy, as I mentioned yesterday.
Yeah. I think it probably depends on what kind of orchid, because I'm sure that there are some pretty weird and nasty orchids out there as well. I'm sure, and I'll have to go and look this up, but I think there's one that's supposed to like smell like dead bodies or something.
Really?
Like that. Yeah, some weird kind of orchid grows somewhere out in the jungle, but it's got a really weird sort of smell. And so everything, of course, it depends. Some people will think it's got a good meaning. Some people will think it's a bad meaning. Some people will think, am I supposed to be growing this and taking care of it? I mean, some people like gardening and having a plant to grow and look after. Some people would think, oh, they're just nice to look at. Now, I know that some flowers have different meanings, right?
Right.
Like roses are always kind of affection, and others mean kind of like, others have got different meanings, kind of good, bad, and all that sort of stuff. I have no idea.
Me either. Carnation for your mom.
Yes, that's one that's associated. There's a lot of language of flowers with the different meanings they have if you give someone. Maybe because there's so many different orchids, it's difficult to say, this is what an orchid means. So, but I guess if it looks nice and you can put it in a nice vase or vase, however you want to say that somewhere, then sure, no one's going to complain about having some nice flowers in the house for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly an interesting idea for a gift. But that is all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching, everybody. For English for You, I'm Pat.
I'm Shikling.
We'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review. Kingdom. This country was once a kingdom, but now it's led by a president. Agriculture. Agriculture plays an important role in this region, where more than 75% of people work on farms. Export. Japan's main export is cars, so it's easy to see Japanese cars around the world. Greenhouse. These kinds of flowers need to be grown in a greenhouse because they need to be protected from the weather outside. Promote. The government is trying to promote trade with a foreign country by opening an office there. Operation. Once all the factory machines have been set up, operations to make items can begin.
智慧小补帖。
Cluster. Bloom.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net